Ready. Play.
One last roll of the dice on the forehand return from Novak Djokovic there. Shouldn't bother Sinner too much, but this is going to be his fourth match point because I forgot he had a couple of match points in the previous Djokovic service game.
Doesn't bother moving there.
No. 40-15. Yeah. See what you get on my screen. And first serve out wide. Djokovic scrambles it. He's out of court. Sinner just places the ball in court. Djokovic gives up. And Sinner is into the Wimbledon final. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the stat that I had in my head for the whole match. This will be the first Wimbledon final since 2017 not to feature Novak Djokovic. What a moment in Wimbledon history. The British fans will have, not someone new, but at least one new person to take on Carlos Alcaraz in the final. They're very used to Carlos Alcaraz already. But this might be, the beginning of end has been sort of, when has that started? It's probably already started, but yeah, we'll come to you first, Damien. How would you summarize? I appreciate you've only watched the third set, but how would you summarize what you've seen today?
Honestly, it was not a match. I mean, Novak was clearly bothered by that hip/thigh issue, perhaps from that fall against Koboli, perhaps, something different. I don't know. We will probably know soon when he has his press conference and everything. But yeah, he needs absolutely everything right now to combat Sinner Alcaraz. He just needs all the potential percentages. And moving like this, it just wasn't possible. Even when he went up 3-love in the third set, I mean, we very clearly saw that once Jannik just gets slightly calmer again, just basically gets back into his range, starts pushing Novak around the court once more. It's tough. The lateral movement is just nowhere near where it has to be. We basically saw some sort of half tanking later on from Novak as well, who was, just clearly trying to end points early. Had that whole game of pretty much kamikaze net rushing, and yeah, he just wasn't fit enough to compete with somebody like that today. If this was another opponent on the other side of the net, maybe we'd be watching a fifth set right now and just, I don't know, a completely wild match where you can see that Novak isn't at his best, but he's serving incredibly well and he's surviving somehow, but not against Sinner.
Yeah, no real chance of that. Vance, do you have anything to add to that? I think you've kind of been saying something similar over the course of watching this match.
Yeah, for Djokovic to have any chance today, he had to be 100% fit. And so being 85% fit or whatever the percentage is, against a guy who, is on average hitting the ball 5 to 10 miles per hour faster than you off both wings and moving better than you, it's just going to be really, really difficult for Djokovic to win those kind of neutral rally exchanges or even get the first strike in when, he's just being forced into the corners and not quite able to recover his position for most of the match. So, he definitely did try a few things. He definitely tried just gambling on a few returns when he was stretched out, just going big on forehand returns down the middle. I think that was something he tried to do that actually helped him get the break. But it just didn't feel like it was sustainable. And Djokovic is not used to playing that kind of brand of tennis over the course of 2, 3, 4 sets against his biggest rivals when he's in this kind of a physical state. It's just too difficult to expect. Obviously, Sinner was pretty good. He took care of his business. But at this point, he played, the kind of tennis he's been playing for the last year and a half, just ruthless, consistent, high margin baseline tennis and great serving. And, it was good enough. And Djokovic is still good enough to continually reach major semifinals. But now this is becoming a repeated pattern for him where he's finding himself, whether it's a fall or it's a thigh issue or it's, last year at Wimbledon coming off of the meniscus tear, things like this, it just sort of catches up to him. And then, later rounds in tournaments, you can see, even in Australia, he had one of his best wins against Alcaraz, but then he had nothing left really. And so I think that's kind of the pattern is, how long is Novak going to be able to keep doing this to himself in terms of his body and sort of his motivation to keep on striving for that fifth slam? Because you can look at it both ways. So it'll be interesting to see, what his thoughts are after the match.
Yeah, I think that press conference is going to be there's going to be a lot of things paying attention to what he says there. And yeah, for him being in this physical state, as you say, this was the worst opponent he could have faced, especially someone who is so powerful off the ground, able to just strike the ball so well. And I will say this about Jannik Sinner. He served incredibly well. He didn't hold back on trying to serve aces, on going as big as possible, especially for the first couple of sets. Maybe dipped a little bit in the beginning of the third. But I do have to say that this match and the previous match, to me, Jannik Sinner, particularly on serve, has been absolutely brutal. I don't know if that's something that you, Damien, would sort of agree with.
I mean, I don't think this match today kind of... I don't think it should be looked at it through this lens. Against Shelton, it's probably way more important that simply like the quality of their returns and their baseline games are very, very different. On serve, they can kind of match each other, but everything else, I mean, it just makes the slim margins on grass go into Jannik's favor. Today, I mean, yeah, sure, Jannik has been serving extremely well for the past 2 years or so, but today he just had an unfit opponent who was not able to compete with that. If he served 2% worse today, I don't think the outcome changes almost at all.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.